Okay, the quality is not great. The only light that I have is still from the Christmas tree that is in here. But we're starting a new vlog, and I am really excited about this because it is an all mystery thriller vlog. It's been such a long time. 2024 was not the year of the mystery thriller books, and I definitely am doing this one for my mystery thriller girlies and boys who have been here since the beginning of the channel, when I definitely read way more mystery and thriller. So if you just joined in 2024, this is like a fantasy and mystery thriller channel, and obviously the random romance and horror that is thrown in there. But yeah, this is a mystery thriller vlog, and I am so excited. I actually have already read a mystery thriller this year, and it was Beautiful Ugly, and it was terrible, and I'm not going to talk about it in this video. It has its own vlog that is going to be coming out potentially. I don't know if I'm going to release that video yet. I haven't decided. But yeah, I've decided that we're just going to read as many mystery thrillers as I feel like until I get sick of them. And there could be like fantasy books in between then, but this will just be what I'm reading for mystery thriller. I am currently reading our very first book for this vlog, and I'm actually finally reading The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. If you didn't know, I am a mixed Frida McFadden fan. I actually really enjoyed the Housemaid series, but pretty much nothing else except for I liked Never Lie. That was on my most surprising list of 2024. I just generally wasn't a fan of like anything else that she's written that I've read. I haven't read The Teacher yet, which I haven't heard great things about, and I'm currently reading The Boyfriend, which I'm actually very much enjoying. I am buddy reading it with my mom. We are almost halfway through the book. It is super insanely fast of a read, and it is highly addictive. I don't know, but I actually am enjoying it significantly more than her other books. I think it is much better written than some of her other ones. It feels like it's actually like she took time to actually write this one, kind of like the first Housemaid book. It feels like a lot of thought has been put into this one, but we'll see. Sometimes her endings can make or break a book, and this could definitely be one of them. But other than that, I actually have pulled together, let me move this a little bit, most of the mystery thrillers that I bought in 2024, or one that's from 2025 that I haven't read yet. So we're definitely gonna try to get to a lot of these. And we do have a mix of some young adult in here. There's only 2 young adult, but yeah, we're gonna probably throw one of those in here. End of Story by AJ Finn, House of Glass, Bad Taurus, High Society, That's Not My Name, Looking for Smoke, Like Mother Like Daughter, Midnight, The Fury, A Killing Cold, Kill for Me, Kill for You. So the ones that I definitely want to get to in this video are definitely Killing Cold, because I want to keep up with my new books. I would also like to get to The Fury just because I've liked both Alex Michaelides that I've read so far, so I have very high expectations for that book. I also would really like to get to Midnight because I loved Breathless by the same author. And then I want to say House of Glass is my other one that I really want to get to. Generally just want to get to all of them, but I would say we're prioritizing these 3. These 3 right here. Definitely A Killing Cold will probably actually be next. So after I finish The Boyfriend, or potentially while I'm reading The Boyfriend, we will move on to this. I am currently finishing up my Owl Crate Purge video number 1, so I do have to finish that book first, and then we'll be moving into mystery thrillers. I think this is what my reading needs. I'm feeling so slumpy when it comes to fantasy books. I feel like this is what I need. This is like the energy that I need to bring to 2025 at the beginning, because clearly reading fantasy and romance and all those is not working right now. So we're gonna switch it up by doing this. So yeah, that is the intro. Let's get into reading books. And like I said, we are currently reading The Boyfriend, so I will give you a full update. I guess I can talk to you about that right now. I didn't think about that. Let me move to a more comfortable position to talk about The Boyfriend. I'll show you one of the Christmas trees and pretend it's still Christmas. It actually just started snowing outside. It is the second winter storm. The other one was last weekend. This one looks like it's gonna be even more snow, which is amazing. I love moving and getting exactly what I wanted. But yeah, so we are reading The Boyfriend, and it is by Frida McFadden. It is one of her, I think it's her newest release until The Crash comes out, which is coming out this month. And we are following our main character who, I don't know, what is her name? What's her name? We're following our main character who is constantly on dating apps and stuff, and she meets a really creepy guy, and it's kind of following that story, but it's also following the story of like her friends that she is dealing with, and they're also dating people. And then the other point of view is from our other main character, who is, it's in the past when he was a teenager, and he is this kid who has a crush on a girl, and he constantly thinks about killing her. And one of the characters, one of the guys in the current day has to be him. And he has a creepy friend, so I'm guessing like there's got to be something to do with the friend being one of the guys and he's actually going to end up being the creepy one and not who we think is the creepy one. It's just that kind of story. So it's fun. I am actually having a lot of fun trying to guess who is who in like the current day versus the past. And I'm just having a good time. I'm having a good time. I know a lot of people do not like this one on BookTube especially, but I'm having a great time with it and I'm hoping I really enjoy it. So anyway, that is the update. We're going to continue reading The Boyfriend. Hopefully my next update will be like me finish the book and I'll give you a rating, and then we should jump right into, I think, A Killing Cold. This is what I want to read. I'm excited to read this. It is a brand new release. I'm trying to keep up with my brand new releases. This is coming out February. So we're gonna try doing that. I'm really excited to try and keep up with my new books this year. So it is pretty early in the morning. I try to keep track in these vlogs what day it is. It is January 14th, and this is the first book that we were finishing for this vlog. I did just finish The Boyfriend, and I'm giving it a 4.5. I loved it. I loved it so much. Like, I get why people did not like it. I get why people did not like it, but the reading experience for me, what happened in the book, the twist, everything, I adored it. And my mom actually guessed it. She has not finished it yet. If you don't know, my mom and I buddy read a ton of books together, and a lot of them are either thrillers or we read the cute Jessie Q Satanto mystery things. So we've read all of the Dal A for Auntie books together. We have read the first Vera Wong's, and we do plan to read the second one together. We read the whole Housemaid series together. We read the Sanatorium series together, and now we're just kind of going through some of Frida McFadden's books just because they're like super easy popcorn thrillers. They're really fun to talk about and to guess who is doing things, because you get to guess like these crazy endings. And she got it. She totally guessed it. Like, she didn't guess 100% of it. Like, I kind of figured out part of it, but she guessed what was going on first. And I was so impressed that she basically did the whole thing. I was just like, oh my God, she's gonna be so excited. Like, when she finally finished it, she should be finishing it either today or tomorrow, because there was, I think my audiobook said there was an hour and 40 minutes left, so that is a little bit over the time she normally reads in a day, but she might just finish it because because from the point, like, basically all of today was the ending, so I'm assuming she will probably finish it today. She's gonna be so excited. I'm so excited to hear what she says about it and what her rating is. I will update you with what her rating is and what she thought about the book, but she is also enjoying it so far, and I love how it ended. Absolutely, the pacing was so good. I will say it's not getting a 5 because Sydney was kind of an asshole of a character, and there were some like questionable things in there. Like, she talks about a scrunchie and she's like, who wears scrunchies anymore? It's like, I don't know any girl who doesn't wear scrunchies. Like, they're so much like nicer for your hair. Most women wear scrunchies, or at least have them. I thought that was really strange to use that as a plot device to try and figure something out. That was very strange. So that was a negative towards the book. And then Sydney as a character is just incredibly judgmental. Like, I was gonna say something not nice, but she is very judgmental of his job as a medical examiner instead of realizing how much work goes into being a medical examiner. And I was a little bit confused, and I don't know if Frida McFadden exactly knew what she was talking about when it came to medical examiner versus pathologist. They're very different jobs. I would not be surprised if they did overlap, but like, I could be wrong here, but my understanding, having worked in a hospital under a pathologist, because pathologists are the ones who run the labs and anything that has like tissue samples or blood samples, anything like that. And our pathologists, their main job was looking for cancer, which I think that was mentioned, that they look at tissue samples for cancer and stuff. But we had a huge cancer hospital section in the hospital that I worked at. And I would see the pathologists all the time, and they are definitely very awkward people. They're all super, super nice, but they are definitely all awkward people. But their main job, was kind of just overseeing the labs and to look at difficult samples and sign off on cancer diagnoses and stuff like that. So I thought it was kind of strange that she was using almost pathologist and medical examiner interchangeably, and I think I could have just read that wrong. But they are different jobs, but I feel like they could overlap. But our pathologists were not medical examiners, so I did think that was strange. So I'm not sure about that. That was a little bit I don't know if she knew exactly what she was talking about. But if you know more about it, definitely let me know down in the comments down below. But that is my understanding based on the pathologist that I have met. I've not met a medical examiner, so I can't really speak on that side of it. But the pathologists I met were not medical examiners. So I thought that was a bit odd. I was a little confused by that explanation of what Tom's job was. And like I said, yeah, Sydney was just very judgmental of that job, and it's like such an important job. That's pretty much it though. Everything else I loved. I loved the pacing, I loved the writing. The characters were very entertaining. The story was very entertaining, and you could solve this one. Like, you could actually solve this one. Some of Frida's books you can't solve, which can get really frustrating. You could 1000% solve this. Like, my mom solved it. like she solved the book before the ending. So you can solve this book, which I really, really like. So I had such a good time with this. I highly recommend reading this one. My hair is really staticky. That's why I'm doing this. I'm about to go put water on it after I finish filming this clip. It's driving me nuts. But I would highly recommend reading this one with a buddy. I would buddy read this one. I think it would be way more fun. And yeah, I just had a really good time with this one. So I'm very excited about that. So moving on to our next pick. I'm pretty excited because I just got Cross My Heart in the mail. And again, I am trying to read my books as... Ooh, that was scary for a minute. I am trying to read my books as I get them. So I've said it, I think in a previous vlog, but this is where all my new books are going. I would like to not fill up that shelf without reading it. I really would like to read my 2025 books as I'm getting my 2025 books. So speaking of that, we are going to prioritize these two thrillers next. I don't know which one I want to read though. So one of them is from Book of the Month and one is from Aardvark. Generally, I have a better time with Book of the Month books. Aardvark books definitely have more of a literary twist to them, and sometimes they're a little bit weird, but this one sounds really, really cool. So The Killing Cold, I'm nervous about this though because I've not had the best luck with Kate Alice Marshall, but I like how short this one is. So I'm thinking this is like potentially popcorn thriller, which I just love them. I love popcorn thrillers. I don't know what it is. It's just like it allows my brain to kind of like shut off, or it just allows it to like follow this train of thought that's really easy, and it just like makes my brain happy. So I have been in a reading slump, but I decided to reread Fourth Wing, so that's been helping significantly just because I'm reading something that's almost like a comfort read. And then listening to The Boyfriend, I just liked it so much, and my brain just really was happy while reading that book. So I think that's definitely helped my reading slump because I'm really excited to get into another book, which I haven't been since I finished since I was in the middle of the Owl Crate vlog. These purge videos are not good on my brain, which actually, you know what really did it? It was the December, reading my December 2024 books. That one hurt. That one really hurt from like what I read in that video and how disappointed I was with most everything in there. So that one definitely, I think, is what kind of put me in the reading slump. But The Boyfriend and Fourth Wing have helped significantly. So we have A Killing Cold and Cross My Heart. I know Cross My Heart has to do with a transplant patient, and they get an organ. I think it's a heart. Cross My Heart. They get the heart of this man's wife, and she becomes, I think, obsessed with the husband and thinks they need to be together. I think that's what this thriller is. It does make me a little bit nervous, but I think she's like finding stuff out about the husband, and he's not who he seems, or he's finding stuff out about the woman. I don't know. That sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good, and it was also short, so I'm hoping they're all popcorn thrillers. I'm excited. Let's see. A Killing Cold. Ooh, rich family things. Whirlwind romance with a member of the powerful Dalton family. 6 months later, he's brought her to Idlewood, his family's isolated winter retreat, to win over his skeptical relatives. The main character has been getting threatening messages on her phone, but she can't ignore the footprints in the snow outside the cabin window or the strange sense of familiarity she has about the place. Then, in a disused cabin, Theo finds something impossible, a photo of herself as a child, a photo taken at Idlewood. Oh yeah, I read that and I was like, oh, this sounds pretty cool. She has no recollection of her earliest years, now begins to piece fragments of her memories together, realizes she's in danger. So yeah, this sounds fun. Rich family drama is always fun. And I think Kate Alice Marshall likes to write about that, I think. I'm trying to remember her other books, but I might be mixing her up with a different author. But yeah, we're gonna try this. I'm nervous about this one just because of the author. I don't know which one. I don't know which one I want to read. I feel like this is gonna be like a try chapter, and then I'll basically come on here and update you about which one I decide. But we're gonna be reading both of them, like, for this video. So don't worry, we will be reading both of them. All right, it has actually been quite a few days. It's been quite a few days. I actually read a bunch of stuff in the meantime. I finished Fourth Wing. I finished my reread of Fourth Wing, which was a 5-star. It was phenomenal. I loved it as much as I did the first time. And I am currently about to start, I think I've read the first chapter of Iron Flame. And then I also read a super cute young adult romance contemporary novel kind of thing, and it was Dungeons and Drama. Super cute. Super cute. It very definitely much felt like young adult. So if you're not a fan of young adult, I would skip it. But if you are fine with the writing in young adult and how kind of overreactive the characters can be in young adult books, it's so good. It's so good. It's so cute. I would definitely recommend it for people who kind of understand and are a fan of board games or are interested in Dungeons and Dragons. Not really board games, but more Dungeons and Dragons, because most of the book does take place in a gaming shop and with the main characters playing Dungeons and Dragons and talking about it, and I loved it. And because then the other side of it was musicals. That side wasn't as big as I thought it would be. It was more we were like saving a program on the other side instead of actually doing stuff in a musical. So I thought that was interesting. I liked that it focused significantly more on the Dungeons and Dragons because I'm a huge fan of Dungeons and Dragons. So that all being said, I did get to cross my heart. This is the aardvark pick for January. Yes, because I had it up here. This was the aardvark, one of the aardvark picks for January, and I'm starting to just think that aardvark might not be for me. I haven't read enough to like 100% say that, but the only aardvark I've read so far that I have, and I think I've gotten through like 6 of my aardvark books, and the only one that I loved was Bride. Every single other one I think I've DNF'd, and that includes this one. So this is also a DNF. I'm not like mad about it or anything. Like, I'm not gonna come on here and roast this one like I did with Beautiful Ugly in my review for it. It was just written in a way that I don't like my thrillers written. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. So this is for Plenty of People. This has a great Goodreads rating. This has, I mean, everybody seems to love this book when they read it. Personally, for me, I do not like telling versus showing books. So this book is definitely, it tells you everything. I got to actually 50%. I think I read like 140 pages or something like that. It was close to that. And a lot of the story was told through emails, and I don't like that. I didn't know that that was how it was told. I don't know if I missed that somewhere, but I didn't like it in The Coworker by Frida McFadden, and I didn't like it in The Appeal by Janice Hallett, and I definitely didn't like it in this either. For me, that creates such a slow pacing when 50% of the book is in emails. Like, it would be like you'd read half the chapter and then the second half of the chapter would be these emails, and just not a fan. I think the premise is so interesting, but I'm starting to think I don't really love obsession stories. I feel like I've liked obsession stories in the past, but not to this extent where our main character literally is an obsessive person who becomes basically this guy's stalker. And she is a heart transplant patient, and she ended up with his heart, and she's been messaging the husband of her donor. And it's just very uncomfortable for me. I just really don't like it. It just gives me such a major ick, which I feel like some people are really gonna like, because it is very just like, ugh. I personally don't love that. And like I said, I don't love reading everything in email. Her and the donor's husband are getting to know each other through these emails, and then he is also emailing somebody else. And so I just don't love that. I don't love that. I'm not a fan of that. For me, the pacing is so slow. I was so bored. At least if I was like entertained, I would have kept going, but I was just incredibly bored. So I think it just comes down to the fact that I don't like this amount of emails. Because like I said, The Coworker and The Appeal in this book, it's like huge chunks of emails. I actually like emails and mixed media and stuff like that, especially in romance books. I love it in romance books. But in thrillers, if it's taken up again, like I said, like 50% of like the first 50% of the book, probably 50% of that 50% was emails. And I actually am sad because those go away halfway through. So I literally got to the point where I think it's like 3 more chapters with the emails, and then they go away. And I was so tempted. I tried to continue and I was just like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm like getting confused about the premise because I've checked out. So at this point, I would end up finishing a book that I feel like I didn't 100% know what was going on because my brain checked out so early on because of how it was told. So I'm not mad about this one. It just didn't work for me. I would recommend this for people who like that like style of writing where you like a lot of emails and being told everything that's going on and getting a lot of backstory and a lot of this like interaction between characters. But personally, it did not work for me, so it's going to be a DNF. If I had continued reading this, anywhere between a 2 and a 3 at max. So I just don't want to. I literally just don't want to read it because there's so many other things that I want to read and I'm in a good mood for reading, so I don't want to continue this and put myself in a slump like I was at the beginning of January. So we are DNFing this and moving on. I would like to get to A Killing Cold. This was kind of my original plan, but I do tend to really like mystery thrillers audiobook. So I was able to get the audio for Cross My Heart. And so that's kind of why that one went first instead of A Killing Cold. But yeah, we're going to just try and read this one physically because this one actually doesn't come out until February 4th, I think. So we're just going to try and read this physically and go old school. We are going to get into A Killing Cold next. I really hope that this has much more of the pacing that I'm looking for in a thriller book. So that is the update. Let's get to reading. Okay, so I finally finished A Killing Cold. This, I just didn't pick it up for a while. And then when I finally picked it up, I literally listened to it / read it in a 24-hour period. So I didn't do any updates. So I actually have finished this. I'm gonna give it a 2. I'm gonna give it a 2-star. It's kind of like how I feel about the other Kate Alice Marshall that I read. What is it? What Lies in the Woods? I think I gave that 3.5. I just don't know if she's particularly like the writer for me. I do have 2 more Kate Alice Marshall books that I actually own, so I will like try and read both of those. I'm also pretty excited for one of them because one is a young adult like mystery more kind of thing instead of like an adult thriller. So I'm hoping I'll like that one. But otherwise, I don't think I'm gonna buy any more from her. I just didn't vibe with this. I just really didn't, like for a lot of different reasons. I generally thought this was just kind of the most generic rich family protecting themselves type of story. Like there was nothing remotely special or interesting about this book. It also really relied super heavily on coincidences, like intensely at odds coincidences happening to get stuff done with the storyline. So I don't love that either. It's just too like suspension of disbelief that this would actually happen to then start the story. I just find that I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. And then it also relied heavily on a character not having their memory fully intact, which I also don't really like. It pretty much just kind of had everything that I don't really like in a thriller book. I will say it is pretty fast paced. Like there wasn't a point that I was like wanting to stop. I was kind of bored though because not that much was happening at the same time. It was just a very weird kind of read. I don't know, but I feel like this could have been like, it was a 3-star for most of the book. But then I really didn't like the ending of it. That's what really kind of brought it down. For me, the endings of thrillers and mysteries really can either make a book really good or make a book mediocre. And unfortunately, this one had a super anticlimactic ending. Pretty much everything was just super obvious that was happening. I will say at least one character did not do what their character normally does in these types of books. They actually made good choices. So I was actually really, really surprised and happy about that character and what happened with them. But otherwise, it was like super anticlimactic at the end. Like it was such a strange ending to this book. And it kind of is like just really massively unsatisfying because like you have this situation and you have going through this just like super difficult traumatic thing. And then like it's resolved, but I feel like it's not in a way that is done particularly well or really makes the reader like excited about the rest of the plot. Like there just wasn't this like moment where we're like, oh yes, this and this and this and this. That just didn't exist. That didn't exist. And I also hated that we even had a moment, it was almost like a Scooby-Doo moment at the end where it was, which I love Scooby-Doo, but I don't want it in this type of book, where everyone like comes together and they go through like explaining everything out to you. Like, oh, we did this because of this. We did this because of this, blah, 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 blah. This is the reasoning for this. And I was just like, ew. Like, I just didn't love that. I thought that was such a weird way to like wrap the book up. And like I said, the end just was super unsatisfying for what was going on. And yeah, it was just kind of a bummer. Like I just wanted more. I wanted to, like, this is the type of book, if you're gonna do like an eat the rich type of story or rich people protecting themselves type of story, it needs to be insane, because at least I'll either give it a 5-star or a 1-star. I would so much rather read something that I'll remember and I was like, oh my god, this was crazy. I hated it, but it was crazy. So like, I feel like a good example is the Family Game. The Family Game by, I think, Catherine Steadman. I didn't like it. It was a 1-star, but it was at least highly entertaining. I didn't love where we ended up in things, but it was at least insane, and I could tell you a lot of stuff that happened in this book. This book, I'm not gonna remember anything about. Like, I would almost prefer a 1-star over a 3-star book, because I'm not gonna remember this. Like, once we get to the end of the year and we talk about books that we've read, I'm gonna look at having read this and be like, I don't know. I can tell you right now, I'm not gonna remember this book. And I could probably tell you the entire plot of the Family Game, even though I didn't like it. So I would prefer that. I prefer 1-stars, generally, over 2 3-stars. And this is what this is. This is a 2-star, boring, nothing special, not a good ending. So I'm really sad about that. The narration was really good. I will say I would recommend this book for people who do just love that type of story. If you love rich family drama kind of stuff and you want a mystery in there and trying to figure things out, I would go ahead and read it. Like, this personally, it just had too much stuff for me that was a problem. It's not like the writing was bad or anything like that. It just had a lot of my pet peeves in here. So I would still recommend this to thriller readers, just really if you just really love either memory problems or you really love eat the rich stories. This is probably for you. Unfortunately, it was just not for me. So this is a 2-star. Now I'm debating what I want my last read to be, because we did The Boyfriend and now we've done A Killing Cold. But I wanted to do one more for this reading vlog because I really thought I'd get through a lot more than 3 books. But I'm kind of on a time crunch because I want to finish this before January's out, and it is January 25th. So I kind of just need to finish this up. So, and I would have had so much more read, but I ended up rereading Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. And that's what ended up taking up most of my time at the end of this month, instead of focusing on this vlog, which is sad because I really wanted to focus on this vlog. But we're probably gonna do another, February. Probably not in February. March. We'll probably pick up doing more thriller stuff in March. But I think for February, we're just gonna read like as many romance books on my shelves that I can find. I feel like I might do a mini purge episode. I was kind of like toying with that idea of doing a mini purge in February, almost like a little side quest, and I was gonna do romance books because I have so many romance books that I don't even know if I'm like that interested anymore. I also have like 2 Abby Jimenez's that I haven't read yet. I have some Mariana Zapata. I just have like so random things. I have an Icebreaker. I don't know what happened with that. I don't know why I bought that. I have like so many romance books that I really want to get to that I just keep buying and then not reading, even though I love romance. So I think I might do a mini purge in February, which I'm really excited about. And it'll be a little bit different than our normal purges. So yeah, so that's kind of the plan. So we will get back to thrillers in March. I'm still probably gonna read thrillers in February just because I think it's a good break. But yeah, February is definitely gonna be focusing on romances, and then we'll get back to another vlog in March. But yeah, so I have a lot of thrillers, but these are the ones that I think I have the best capability of liking. So this is kind of the little list that I have. I think I'm gonna try one of these or both of them, and I will let you know which one I end up picking. Okay, I am not reading either book that I picked because something just came in the mail. Something came in the mail that I was not expecting, and it kind of solved my problem for me because this is a brand new release, and I'm so excited. This actually was one of my like choices for January's book club, but it was not picked, so I can actually read it in this vlog. I'm so excited. This is from the publisher. This is from the publisher. But I figured we would go ahead and read this because I do actually have an e-arc. I was not expecting to get a copy in the mail from Macmillan, which I thought this is so cool. I still am brand new to this, getting publisher stuff. So for me, this is like my Super Bowl. Like, getting books in the mail from a publisher is insane to me. Like, that idea is crazy to me. So I was like tearing up earlier because I've only ever gotten one other book, and it was A Fragile Enchantment. So yeah. I'm so excited. So anyway, this is the package that it came in, and it is Needy Little Things, and it is a young adult mystery thriller. I think it's mostly young adult mystery, and it sounds so good. It comes with a book plate, and it comes with like a little like thing about like what the book is about, and then it also came with, like, I wasn't expecting any like swag, but it came with a little pouch. Isn't that so cute? I love it. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And this like literally solved my problem of what else to read in this video. So we're going to be reading Needy Little Things. This comes out February 4th. So I even got this like early access, I guess, whatever. I got this early. I'm so excited. I also do, again, like I said, I have an e-arc of this, so I'll be able to read it both Kindle and physically with my finished copy. I'm just like stunned right now. I'm so excited. So anyway, let's get into reading this. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, yeah, it's like a mystery fantasy almost thing. So our main character can hear what people need, tangible things, an ability only her family and best friend Malcolm know about. When she fulfills a need for her friend Deja, who vanishes shortly after, Soraya is left wondering if her ability is more curse than gift. This isn't the first time one of her friends has landed on the missing persons list, and she's determined not to let her become yet another forgotten black girl. So she basically takes over the investigation and tries to figure out what's going on. So I think this sounds really, really good, and it's like a little bit of mix of fantasy in there, which is always fun. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start reading Needy Little Things. I'm like really surprised you can't tell more, but I have been crying because I actually did finish Needy Little Things, and that like the last like paragraph that's gonna make me cry if I even remotely think about it. I am so curious if there is going to be a second book. I need a second book for this. I don't think there has to be. I think we kind of got our answers at the end because we had one final thing at the very end of this book that I was like, oh, I really wish we had touched upon this more. And then the final like paragraph destroyed me. I was so upset. This is so good. This does get a 4 because I don't love what was really going on in the mystery, but I loved everything else about it. Like, the mystery to me was the weakest aspect of this book, but everything else is so good. This really honestly is mostly a young adult contemporary, I would say, more than anything. Like a speculative contemporary with a mystery that they're kind of trying to solve. Like, they want to solve it, but it is much more about the dynamics between the characters in this. And it was intense. It was very intense. This is like, a lot of people should read this because it deals with a lot of things. This is the type of exploration of grief that I enjoy. While there's other things going on at the same time as exploring that grief, so it's not just like entirely grief driven, but wow, we touched on a lot of topics. So anyway, we're following our main character, Soraya, and she has this kind of tight-knit group of friends, Malcolm and Deja. And Malcolm is her like ultimate best friend. And unfortunately, his twin sister went missing, I think a couple years before this book started. And it's definitely something that is super upsetting in this book. I actually wish we had focused more on Tess in this book because those are the parts when we talked about her and the ending that literally like sent me over the edge when it came to this book. Like, I do wish we had focused a little bit more on her story or brung her up a little bit more, even though kind of the whole story really was about her. It's just complicated. It's really complicated. So anyway, the whole story is revolving around Tess' missing person, but then Deja actually ends up going missing, and so we're trying to figure out what happened to Deja, and potentially are the two connected, etc. And so the cool thing about our main character is she actually has this, it's not like a power, it's just a thing. Like, her grandmother had it as well, but she can sense what people need potentially in the future. Like, it's not exactly a need immediately, like sometimes it can be, but she'll get this like inkling, and it literally gives her migraines if she doesn't answer the call of the need. So someone could walk past her and she'll suddenly hear like paperclip, 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 and it just gets louder and more insistent, etc. And so she'll like go up, and she has what she calls her Santa bag, which is so funny. She pulls out a paperclip, gives it to him, it may be a day from now, an hour, a minute, something will happen where they need the paperclip. So I think the best example was like, oh, a woman, was it a hat? I don't remember if it was a hat, but she came up to Soraya, and Soraya heard hat, 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 hat. So she gives her the hat, and then immediately is pooped on by a bird, by a pigeon, and it hits the hat instead of her head. So it's kind of like that, and it's so cool. Like, it is the coolest thing. It is terrible for our main character, but it's such an interesting like way of doing this book. Like, it's definitely speculative fiction, and it's so cool. Like, it doesn't need world building, it doesn't need anything else, it just exists, and I kind of loved that. Normally I like my world building more, but it just worked super well for the story. So that is kind of like our main thing going on, but the other things that are going on is Soraya is kind of her primary caretaker of her little brother because her mother is dealing with major depression, and at the same time they're dealing with the little brother who has sickle cell, which I thought this was amazing sickle cell representation because you just don't see it that often in books. And I have a weird amount of knowledge about sickle cell because I actually worked at a hospital that treated a ton of sickle cell patients. When I used to work in Charlotte, we had so many sickle cell patients, and one of our jobs was to look at the blood of patients who were in sickle crisis. And you can literally see that their blood cells are sickle shaped, and what happens is they basically get like clumped in the arteries, and it's a lot more complicated than that but that's kind of what happens, and it causes immense pain, and these poor patients have to get like bags and bags and bags and bags of transfusions to deal with sickle cell. So I just thought it was such a good representation in showing how much pain those patients are on like a daily basis potentially, because obviously they go into like a remission state. They do call it like sickle cell remission, but it never goes away. It's just something they always have to deal with. So it was so good actually seeing that represented super well in this book. So I loved that. Again, her mom has like major depression disorder. It seeps into every aspect of their life, and it really sucks because like you can tell the mom wants to be a really good mom, but she struggles so hard and she takes it out on other people, and she doesn't know how to help herself, so therefore she can't help other people. So it was so difficult to see Soraya having to deal with her mom like that, because you just like want to yell at the mom, but then you're like, she's dealing with stuff, she's trying so hard. It just dealt with that super, super well as well. And it kind of gave you a glimpse as to how difficult it can be to function. Telling someone just to get up, that doesn't work. That is not how depression works. So that's kind of like the major storylines going on through this. And it's so good. I realized I've been talking about it. I'm giving it a 4-star. It would be a 5-star if I liked the way that the mystery wrapped up. I just didn't think, it just wasn't really like the point. Like them solving the mystery just didn't feel like the point of the book. The point of the book felt more like talking about how missing girls, especially Black girls, are ignored by the media and how they're portrayed in the media and stuff like that as runaways a lot of times. That was more of the point. So I feel like it didn't need to be a mystery. I feel like this should have just been a contemporary where maybe not the friend went missing, but someone they know from high school that's like in their class. And yeah, they can kind of look into it, but the point is really they're missing friend Tess from a couple years ago, and we could have just gone through that. Like it really didn't need to be a mystery because, again, that was the weakest aspect of this. If that had like a different outcome and it was done a little bit differently, this easily could have been a 5-star. But this is a debut. This is an amazing debut. The writing is phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. I definitely would like highly recommend this book. This is so good. Would highly, highly recommend this. I'm really glad that this is where we're stopping the vlog. Like I was thinking about reading another one, but I think this is where we stop. I'm excited about this. I'm also super happy again that I got this from the publisher because I definitely would have went out and got a physical copy because this is amazing and I definitely want to add it to my collection. So let's quickly wrap up what we talked about in this vlog. Man, I wish I had a physical copy of it, but we read these two plus The Boyfriend, and I kind of talked a little bit about Beautiful, Ugly. I'm not going to talk about that one. That one has its own separate thing, but technically kind of read it for this. But yeah, so we read these two and The Boyfriend, and we found two like new favorites. Like I'm really excited about this. If this is not in the young adult category, I will riot at the end in Goodreads. This is so good. This needs to be in the young adult category. Wasn't a fan of this one, but I did love The Boyfriend. So The Boyfriend we read first, I gave it a 4.5. Wildly entertaining. This arguably is a better book, except for the ending. I think that's what's so funny when you rate stuff. It's like, this is a better book. This is better written. But I was way more entertained and I like screamed about the ending of the boyfriend. So it's just, it feels wrong. It feels so wrong. But then we read A Killing Cold and that gets a 2-star. I was not a fan of this one. Generally, it just didn't do anything new. It didn't do anything special. Wasn't a fan of the end. Just wasn't a fan of this one at all. Like, it was just so mediocre that I'm gonna forget about this book in like a week or so. I'm already forgetting what happened in this book. And then, like I said, we just finished Needy Little Things. This gets a 4-star. This could get higher as the year goes on. It just kind of depends how I feel about it over time. But I'm so happy that this came onto my radar because I had no idea it existed until like a couple weeks ago. So I'm very excited. And this one is a brand new release and I think also comes out February 4th. So this was almost like an ARC video, kind of. We have this one that comes out on February 4th, and this one also I think comes out on February 4th. So definitely, out of everything in this video, I would highly recommend reading this one. It's fantastic. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely like the video if you enjoyed it. Definitely subscribe if you haven't subscribed so you miss any future content, and leave me comments down below if you're gonna read any of these books, if you've read any of these books. And that is everything that I have for you today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.